You're listening to the Who is Christine Anyway podcast season 2. Today's guest is Mellyssa Woodward. Enjoy.
Hi, Mellyssa from
Hey.
Notes on Notes. It's so good to finally have a DIY female on here. That was such a nervous laugh. Like, ah.
Still working with the DIY part.
But you're doing good though. Like you're producing, and that's part of DIY is production. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, and that's art. Art is learning and putting things together. And it's like, it's imposter syndrome when you don't feel like you're actually producing something that's impactful, but you really are producing something that's impactful. And I know you interviewed me at the end of December. It was like the last day of December when I went out. I'm like, this is the perfect way to end this year and go into 2025. After having such a big year last year, it was kind of interesting. And it's really funny because people were reading that and they're like, I met her at the fruit stand. They're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, well, every time I would leave a certain place that I was working, I would be stressed out and I needed, a pie, emotional support pie on the way home.
Yes.
Or
yes.
I fucking love pie. Or
the
it would
blueberry
be,
scones.
oh, fuck yeah. Or was there raspberry ones at one point? I can't remember.
Yes.
Those were good.
He had a cranberry scone too.
But I used to always stop up there and get when I was growing up, my grandmother used to always go to like the local places and get fresh produce. She's not like one of those intensely organic people. She just really likes kind of supporting local. And now that she's later years, my grandfather's in her later years, like you will often see me kind of retract back and go back into that home section of my life. And like that really is where it begins and ends. And I kind of just would stop there. You guys always had the best fruit and stuff. And you were always so nice. So it was always just like so easy to get into conversation with you. And then I found out you liked music. And then I just kind of it blossomed.
It snowballed from there.
Yeah. And then you had flowers. And I love flowers. Like flowers can fix anything. Like if I walked into my office and I was surrounded by flowers, I would be A, looking for Benadryl, but also B, thrilled. Like I would just I don't know. Like you could do some really horrible thing, but then if there's flowers in a note, I'd be like, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I can't wait till we have our flowers again.
And Blaze. Oh my God. So how's the cat, Blaze, the orange and white kitty? Everybody needs to follow him on social media, Blaze, the greenhouse cat.
Blaze the greenhouse cat on Facebook. Hang on. I was stopped in today with my mom and he decided he wanted to try to come home with us.
I love him. I straight up love him. I would go in there and he's always like, meow. And then to hear the story that he selected the greenhouse as his home.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well.
I can see him. He's such a sunny cat. You realize we had all those really tragic floods last year. And the only thing I could think of is I'm like, where's Blaze? The whole washout of the water systems and our, runoff systems went bad.
Yeah,
and Blaze, he's like a mouser who lives there. And everything had went to shit. And I'm sure there was a lot of people who had flooded base. Everybody on my street was flooded, but me, by the way.
Oh, because I do Blaze's page on Facebook and Steph does the greenhouse page and we're getting messages and I'm like, Alexis, you're on the fire department. Go get, is he okay?
Yeah, we were straight up worried.
And her mom, they both.
I speak for everybody.
And she's like, Alexis, Blaze is still in the greenhouse. Go get him.
You could just call me. Just pick me up. We ride at dawn. I will swim.
She went down.
I'm not that good at it. I mean, I am good at it, but I will straight swim to that cat.
Yeah, they kind of broke the back door to get in.
Good. I don't mean good. It's broken, but
they got him out, took him home for the night. We all come in the next day and we're like, what do we start with?
It was catastrophic. Half the floor got washed out.
One of our greenhouses still doesn't have a floor. There's no ground underneath it. There's still a 7-foot drop.
Maybe it's time for a second room. We could just put a root cellar in there.
But
that could be Blaze's lair.
He likes to go hide there and take naps because it's away from everybody. And nobody else
until my kid comes running in and she's like, Kee! But I'm sure she's
he runs to her.
Yeah, and he comes out of nowhere. My favorite's when I'm walking around and I'm rifling through all the flowers and then I'll move 2 plants aside and then there's just
napping.
Beautiful little orange flower of a furry face looks at me and just meows and I'm like, I'll take that one.
Oh, and everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody comes in, they're like, how much is the cat? I'm like, he's not for sale.
I feel like I would be suspect number one now. You're gonna be like, I know where he is.
I'm like, hang on, I gotta go
back.
home and get him.
I'll be back. I know exactly where he is. And I'll be trying to get to my car and you'll be like, do you have the cat? And I'm like, no. And my car will be like,
yeah, your daughter will sell you out though.
she's the worst. She's a terrible accomplice. Like there's so many times she's like, I'm like, oh no, he definitely did. And I'm like, you little snitch.
And you're like, would you stop?
My older ones are just kind of like, they're like me, like their mouths shut and their subtitles come on. So they're pretty bad. They're like visual snitches versus auditory snitches. Like Dahlia's the loud one. Like all the others are just kind of like their heads will turn really quick. And I'm like, don't do it.
And then you'll see this look in their eye.
Yeah, they're just like, she's like, I do not have a cat. I always have a tail. It's just a thing. Right? So, but he's just such a great cat. And he just he adopted you. So that was the really cool part.
He just like showed up, stayed, and he's been there since 2021.
Oh my gosh. So he's been, nobody knows how old he is though, right? Or do they?
When she took him to the vet to get fixed, because male cats.
Gotcha.
Fix your male cats.
That and responsibility, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob Barker.
And the vet is like, he's probably about 4. So he's got to be close to 8.
See, I have like a flame point Siamese, and he adopted me kind of a similarly same kind of thing, but different. And I asked them how old he was, and they're like, we don't know, because I guess they like age him like teeth or whatever, and they couldn't. Yep. So I assume Simon is like 14. He's all over my socials though. That cat is, and he is fickle. He's got me trained like what time I feed him.
About that. Where's mine?
About that. It'll happen. So
he's my old man's gonna be 13 this year.
Aw. But they can live a little while longer too. I love geriatric cats. That sounds weird, but like
he gives me this look like it's time for bed.
Yeah, they'll tell you. Like I don't know if you notice this, but like you train dogs, cats train you. Like there's it's like I have to get home, my cat says. Like it's just it has to happen.
My cat says I can't go out. I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry, but we're stuck watching a rom-com. He really wants to know how it ends.
Yep. Ow.
The same way everything fucking ends.
Yeah.
Okay, well, come back in like an hour. We'll know. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, no, it was kind of like a really cool serendipitous type of moment that it was kind of like, I really like the fruit and vegetable stand. I like the flowers, and the company there is great too. Like Steph's there. You guys are just really great staffed, like as people. And you do like in the times like getting to go you and like picking little tidbits as I go, or my kids would be running around like with blueberries forever, or the strawberry. Do you remember the strawberry?
The one that looked like the Grateful Dead bear.
Yes. And then what was the other one that we found last summer that was like weirdly shaped? God. It was like when people find Jesus in their pancakes.
They found like a heart shape. I found a heart shape.
There was a heart. There was a bear. The bear was wild because
there was one that was just like a flower.
How the fuck do you get a strawberry shaped like a bear? Like I don't even think like Sherry's Berries has that down, and I love Sherry's Berries, like the chocolate dip strawberries.
Yep.
Shout out to Sherry's Berries if you're I like sponsors. Actually,
right now they're all too uniform, so.
Send me berries and flowers, and I will just be the nicest person until they are gone. But it's one of those things too, where like I really enjoyed kind of like the process of like last summer being that really big project for the Saranac Lake project. The culmination of that was, that was a 2-year project, and I've been in this for over 2 decades. So it was kind of funny because you guys ultimately really, I was up through that area so much. You guys really did turn into like my therapy stop. I was like, I'm on my way home. And I cannot cope right now.
It's like, I need the cat, I need flowers, I need pie.
Yeah, cat, flowers, and pie, and send me on my way. Or me sitting in my lawn waiting for you to show up with the pie, just like barefoot, like looking traumatized, and a hot mess. Like my hair just an utter mess, which was fine. But it's so awesome though to see you doing, I'm going to call it a zine, but it is digital. Mm-hmm. And I really kind of hope it goes to print at some point, but that's just me. And I love print things. Like I like print books and stuff.
I know.
Like
yeah.
me, the trinket collector of the world. But I don't want to say I'm a hoarder, but I have like archival type scenarios of like I have binders of all my moves. So it's kind of like,
but I have CDs still.
I've got those
from all of the local shows that I've gone to.
Something that's really interesting that I have, and I brought it to, so I did a couple career days for my kids' school, which was really nice. I love to see that the fact that they support the music community showing up, which was really great. And of course, my kids were like, Mom, sign me out. But at the same time, it was really cool to have them all kind of walk through and see, you know, like, oh, wow, this is what she does. So I had brought CDs, and a lot of them, people were like, why would you bring this old dingy CD? And I'm like, this CD was something that I had like, God, when you're going back 2 decades, I had started booking these bands, and I was on these like obsolete at the time message boards. Man, I'm really fucking aging myself here. Anyway, I'm 37, but you know, as a teenager,
I was like, you're not. If I had actually started, then we'd be in the same boat.
So I would, you know, I had realized quickly in my early teens, kind of like 15-ish, going into 16, that the best way to really I'm like, you know, this sucks. Nobody's going to answer these emails all the time. So I kind of realized, like, if I send out interview requests, and first of all, it really helped me scope the bands better because then I understood their catalogs, which was cool. And it got me early access to releases. So I had that. And it got me published. So my name was now places. So people would be like, okay, so she's got a little bit of weight behind her. And so by the time, you know, I was 16, I was writing for a pretty well-known, you know, publication at that time. Nice. And it continued to move through. But it was awesome because these labels would send me their demos. And some of these labels, you know, some of them have dissolved, some of them have, you know, morphed. But some of the bands that show up on these demos ended up getting huge. So now I've got like these little weird demos, like these CDR jewel cases where people have like, first of all, I love a good Sharpie drawing. So like I've got like demos where it's like from certain labels where they've kind of like hastily drawn it, bands sending me their stuff. I've kept them all. I think they're incredibly awesome. Like, I don't know. Like, Fastway to my heart, give me a burnt CD.
Yeah, like that's just something super cool because there's a few bands that I saw, like it was literally just a burnt CD. They wrote their band name on it and then a quick little design, and I'm like, cool. You sound awesome. You are awesome to talk to. Heck yeah, I'm gonna buy your CD.
Right, and it's easy to like purchase their CDs. Like it's not. I don't want to say it's I'm not gonna say it's a difficult process to buy CDs in any other platforms. Everybody's on to streaming now. I understand that. I understand we all want what's trendy with records. We all, you know, cassettes made a comeback. You know, records. I love records. I have records framed on my walls. Dahlia, actually, it's funny. At 6, everyone's like, you know, she's a Swiftie, and I'm like, she's a music lover. That is what that is. And people are like, well, you know, do you discourage her from liking this artist, that artist? I'm like, I don't discourage her from liking any artist. She wants to like Bette Midler. Guess we'll listen to Bette Midler. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know,
you just want to foster a love of music.
Yeah. And it's been really great with her. She actually, for Christmas, she got like a microphone on a stand. Like
I saw.
And she got that. And she got the hot pink with sparkly guitar, the electric one. And she has a hot pink acoustic guitar. Now, she's working on it. Like, I'm going to emphasize that, which she's working on it, but she plugged into what the hell is it? It's a Morgan and a Bogner combination. Like it's a Morgan head with a Bogner cap. So she's 6. The stack is taller than she is. But she is psyched. And she's now like, I wake up this morning and she's singing in the microphone and stuff like that. And does she know all the words to a lot of, you know, Taylor's songs? Yeah, I think that's
she
great.
Does? That's awesome.
She does. Like it's so. First of all, being 6, you know, obviously limited reading abilities. So when I set up her Spotify for her, because tablets and kids, especially for the car ride up to, you know, Saranac's like an hour and a half, Watertown's like an hour and a half, you know, where we live, you know, it's a pretty substantial drive.
You need a little something.
Yeah. But how do you get a kid to read a playlist title? You can't. So I started getting smart. I'm like, okay, Taylor Swift, blonde emoji. Paramore, orange-haired emoji. Paris, black-haired emoji. Like, it was just like, so now she can identify which list is which based on seeing this. And she knows all of the catalogs of Halsey, Paramore, Taylor, and she's good. Her timing's good. Obviously you're going to hear them all go, she's good. But I mean, like, she's good in the sense that, like, she's learning cadence. She's learning and understanding tempos and times. And, like, yeah, sure, her fingering's working along, coming along, but she's understanding strumming, when to strum, when to pick. And it's interesting to watch her kind of develop that at, like, I was like 10 when I got my first guitar. So she being like 3 or 4 when she got the acoustic, and now being 5. She was 5 when she got the electric, and 5 when she got the microphone, which I half on the fence about that for parents, half off. But it's the concept that she shows interest in creating, and she'll even write her own songs, especially if I piss her off. Like,
that's where some of the best songs actually do come from.
My mom ate my fucking cake. I'm like, but also, good line. Let's put a little bit of distortion and see how that sounds, because very Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though, and there is still such a DIY scene, and especially up here.
Yeah.
Which, everyone talks about the heavy hitters, but nobody really talks. I mean, they talk about the underground stuff. Like the fact that there's a show going on once a month in Potsdam. Down the road,
awesome. Like,
I fucking love it. I've been to them. I love it.
Yeah. Like when I was in college, we had so many come into the college, or we would even go to Watertown almost every weekend.
Yeah. When they had the dungeon.
Oh my God. I missed
Hurley's.
the dungeon. I missed the dungeon. I miss Hurley's. It was just like Sean and Bruce. They would bring in a lot of people.
Yeah. I made my ways around to like a lot of bands that came through here ended up moving on to much larger things. I mean, everybody has to understand that these, what was once is now big was once small, usually. Like, or there's a power player.
Like everybody that you see now that is in the mainstream started off as these bands playing in somebody's garage.
I get such a kick. And it's always the funny thing. I get such a kick when you see bands and then they go like throwback, archival. And they're like, oh my God, they were so good at keeping an archive of their first shows. And I'm like, they probably played 3 times as many shows that are in these like haphazard hand recorders or phone recordings than before they got to, per se, these larger stages. And once you do get further up in the industry, it does get kind of convoluted. And I'm saying that in the nice way because I know what it is. It is what it is. It can get convoluted. And a lot of times a good artist, and it's business. It's business. Eat or be eaten kind of thing. Back to that cake analogy.
Yeah.
But I'm fucking cake, but it's not pie. So she can be mad about the damn cake. But it was interesting because I know I was talking to you beforehand and I had mentioned it in passing. These small shows, I would go to these small shows, even down in Watertown like you, and especially up here in Potsdam. I miss like Hurley's. I'm really proud of the team that is putting on the DIY shows here in Potsdam. I'm not part of that team. Like this, I'm getting nothing from this. I am so proud to go to those shows. I'm so proud to
show the support. Yeah.
I'm happy to go as a patron. I pay my way in the door. I buy, I got some really awesome merch from Universe. I think that was their name. They had a really cool cat shirt. Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I have no regrets. They gave me a little tote bag too. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. And they're like, we're out of your size. I have never walked up to a large scale band and they go, we're out of your size. Here's a little extra something as an apology. It's not the same type of community. So I am thrilled to walk into these. And I mean, this isn't a typical venue that they're held in right now because,
No, it's in the SLC Arts building.
Yeah. It's like the tile factory.
Yeah. The old tile store.
And it's awesome because it's amazing. It reminds me of my first venue. They just push it all to the side.
And here you go.
There you go. Like, that's it. And it is the sickest shit I have ever seen. And that team does an amazing job. And, they bring in Potsdam Pride as a supporter. And that is so important. And it is all ages. And I love the crowd. I love the kids in there. I love to see them up there. They're bopping their heads. They're dressing how they want to dress. They're feeling safe. They're feeling comfortable. They're feeling supported. They're not feeling dislocated.
They're having fun. They're actually engaging with the bands. Yeah. They're engaging with everybody around them. And it's just awesome to see, like, you see that look like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's that moment. That is the exact sensation that kind of got me into it. Like in the small venue, like looking and I'm going right now, this could be a revolutionary moment for any one of these children right now where they start something, stop something, realize they have a love of something. And they really, you don't know what's in that venue at that moment. And I don't mean that in like a creepy way. It's kind of like you may look at the next record executive and have no idea. You have no idea.
Right.
And
you're like, that kid could be the next writer for this musician.
The next session player.
That kid could be the next guitar player for this band.
Yeah. And a lot of it, like, I really have to give that team, and I could go down the whole, I don't want to go down the whole team's roster, but, I know Ethan's in there too, really good. And they really bring in such a diverse sound platform, sound profile. Maybe that's the best way to put it. It's such a wide sound profile where, like the one I went to, one before last. So what would that be? Like January? That'd be January. When I went in January, it was, it was very avant-garde. Yeah. People are like, well, this would be considered noise. And I'm like, listen, just listen to it. Like, how can this be applied here? And while this segment seems this way, and this is where it gets funny because like people go, well, this segment seems weird. That song was weird. You also see online these clips surface where like Phineas and Billie Eilish, that team, the brother and sister team. He goes, well, we were in Australia and we heard the crosswalk sound, bing, bing, and he played it on his phone. And he goes, well, Billy liked it, so we put it in the song. I'm like, who's to say that these clips, these segments, these portions cannot be intertwined into something that is monumental? This could be a session player right here that you have no idea that you're watching firsthand.
Right.
And that's what makes the DIY so important. And that's what makes like things like you do, the publications, the discussions, the interviews with these bands, to understand why they do what they do and how they do it so important. And bringing in the interviews from the industry professionals that are, from smaller platforms to bigger platforms, to have the discussions. Like that's often the hardest thing that, I will unfold the soapbox and go to town on an argument about that there is really no reason why larger scale anybody in any industry shouldn't be shying away from a conversation with somebody who is just beginning. If someone goes, hey, I just did sound at my first gig, then have the damn conversation. Have the conversation. But a lot of people go, well, good for you. When you're good, come back. And it's not always like that. Like I've met some really amazing people. But oftentimes it is like that. It's like, hey, I want my first, music job. What do I do? Be a tech. Start as a tech. See how they function.
And learn all the ins and outs of everything that you've got to the soundboard and everything.
I don't think people realize the amount of money that can come from being a tech. And yes, you get your wages and all that stuff. But I'm talking about the fact that you're touring essentially. Give your fucking demo out. Like, just give it out. Don't get me wrong. Don't walk up to the promoter. They're just going to be an asshole, probably. And I say that as a promoter, probably going to be an asshole. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with we're probably stressed. Or we just, sometimes it's peasantry. It's ridiculous. But you can also...
Sometimes it's you've got too much going on and you're just like, I can't right now. I've got to take care of this. I've got this person over here. There's a situation downstairs.
Aim for your, I don't want to say lower echelon, but aim for your mediums, like the other bands, their techs. The merch people. There is
there is such an in with the merch folks.
Keep listening for the next part of this episode.
Visit www.whoischristineanyway.com for access to all the social media links and additional podcast episodes.